Hello, it's the other Chris Pratt. This is, of course, 30 Day Screenplay. This is day 15 of 30 Day Screenplay. We are right in the middle point. I reached page 91 today. But I don't want to go into that just yet. I want to talk about some of the feedback I got and the comments that everything I'm doing is delusional. And I want to say, yes, that's how we do it. All the screenwriting books will tell you to make a chart and map out your first act and who's your character and what do they want and why now, what happens if they don't get it. But very few of the screenwriting books say there is a level of delusion that is required to be successful at this. And I think that you have to have that. And I want to give you permission to have that. And one of the reasons I'm showing this raw version of this how the sausage is made version, is that they don't ever talk about it. No one ever talks about it. Now, occasionally you get that joke in the press tour where there's like, oh, I was crazy enough to think I could try it, or like, what made you do it? Well, lots of insanity. You have to wake up every day as a screenwriter and you have to start working on a thing under the pretext that when you're finished, anyone's going to care about it at all. And that is real. That is a thing that you have to create in your mind. That's a trial balloon that you float up, that no matter where you're at in the process, you can look up and you can see and you can remember it's your North Star. And so far I've been delusional about the fact that I'm creating a Terminator movie. I'm not being hired to create a Terminator movie. That secondly, I want to curb the grammar of David Koepp's tense thriller writing. Like, let's be honest, David Koepp's a rock star. I'm a nobody. And then third, that I'm going to write a movie that Steven Soderbergh might want to direct. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to direct the movie. What I'm saying is I'm writing a movie that I feel will hold up to the standards of the kinds of material that he's drawn to force myself to say, on a scene-by-scene, day-by-day, act-by-act overall picture, is this Soderbergh worthy, or is this Soderbergh style, or how would Soderbergh shoot this scene? How would he do this scene? How would he carry this scene forward? And I think when you study those guys, and a lot of the feedback that I got, yesterday was like, video 11 was super down and depressing. Video 12 was like all over the place, sort of excited. And what you don't realize is that those things are 100% actually part of the process. Both those things are factually true. Like, there are days when you fight and fight and fight and fight. It takes everything out of you. You got nothing left and you feel completely void of any energy whatsoever, and you still have to make a video. And there are days that you're pumped. You got a 35-page day. You're ripping through this thing. The characters are just talking to themselves. But they're both true. They're both part and parcel to the process. And I think, somebody asked me, would I use a whiteboard? And the answer is probably not. I probably won't use a whiteboard because I'm not teaching you the fundamentals of screenwriting. There's a million videos. There's 100 books. There's 1,000 ways out there to learn the fundamentals of screenwriting. This is more like screenwriting, brainstorming, sausage factory therapy, to say sometimes you get to page 81 on day 11, and sometimes on day 12 you're still on 81, and sometimes on day 13 you're still on 81, and day 14 and day 15. Today I started on page 81 and I literally didn't know what to do, but I thought, okay, well, as an exercise, let me go back and fix some of these parentheticals. Let me fix some of these, she tells him her story, one thing that was a page and a half. The moments that you put in that are placeholders that you have to go back and work on later, start fixing that stuff until you can break the log jam and sort of shake the tree and see if you can find the fruit that falls out. Michael Arndt, people email me insanely great endings. Like, I love that you guys are sending me insanely great endings. I love that it has that kind of penetration in the screenwriting community. I am a devotee of Mr. Arndt. I have watched his videos countless times. I have turned his videos into audio files that I have listened to in the car, on the run, in the gym. Like, I wouldn't say I've memorized, but like, I have highly consumed and contained and incorporated Michael Arndt's work to the point that I think I could write a book with him. I think that if he were ever interested, I could take 24 popular A-list cinematic masterpiece achievements in the both commercial and critical variety and break down, I've done probably a dozen already, break down the story and the structure and the plot and lay them into the insanely great endings format. Whether the original writers intended to use that format or not, they all have a philosophical arc, antagonist, character, beginning, middle, and end. They all have an internal emotional, arc, and they all have an external plot-oriented sort of structural arc, and all three of those culminate in a final 2-minute sequence, just like he said. If you haven't seen his stuff, it's called Pandemonium Inc. Go, watch, study, learn. He's amazing. He's fantastic. But that tool is not a screenwriting tool. That tool is a rewriting tool. And I think there's a difference. If you sit down and you're tapping your pencil on the paper and you're like, who's my philosophical antagonist? Who's my Han Solo? It's like, get the draft down, get the draft done, get the plot, get the story, get the structure, get the overall arc. It really, Insanely Great Endings is like a workbook checklist for when your script is finished, that you hold it up and you ask yourself, do I have these things? Are they in there? Can I turn them up? Did I miss it entirely? Did I miss this entire vein of the storytelling process? Like, now who's my Han Solo? Now who's my philosophical antagonist? Now who's gonna... So it's... And you got a character study with 2 people in a room. All those people are assuming multiple roles. So they're all chameleons. They're all, coyotes. They're all changing shape and form at different points of the story to serve different needs. But I don't want to get too much into that right now. I think what I want to say is, when you guys are the producer, and you are the producer, you're sitting in, you're listening, you're talking, you're asking questions. Your feedback is what's driving me. Your interest is what's driving me. Your participation is what's driving me. When you guys say, hey, it feels like you're jumping around a little bit. Yeah, that's how my brain works. My brain works by jumping around. I think in pop culture references. I think about scenes in movies and how they had an effect, and how I don't have that scene in my movie. And therefore, I am cheating myself and thus my audience out of having that effect. So what you're seeing is like this raw sort of development process to show you how the sausage factory works. And like, if you were sitting in the room, like maybe this is a live chat, maybe the format of this is a live chat, and it's just me writing and screen is there and me talking is here, and I'm reading the comments and I'm talking it through with my people. I don't know. That leads me to another thing. Like, people are asking, did you go back and watch your first videos? And I'm like, no. You got to realize, I recorded this series of video, like not for start to finish, but like the first episode I recorded 20 or 30 times before I ever put it out. And the one I put out was one I recorded in one take at one time and uploaded it the same day. And I was just like, I got to get this going. Like, I can't try for perfection anymore. I'm not going to get perfection. It's going to be terrible. And that imposter syndrome feel of like, I'm not good enough to be a YouTuber is completely, totally normal when you start something new. And if the screenwriting is the something new, just expect that that's what you feel every day. I still feel it. Out of the 106 or 107 scripts I've written so far, I probably only show 2. Sometimes I show 3 if like it's specific to that person, like they're looking for that exact type of movie. But like, I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly doing more work and becoming a better writer. So something I wrote even 6 months ago isn't 6 months, it's 6 drafts. You're a better screenwriter 6 drafts later than you were 6 months ago. So like, just, Mr. Beast, man. Mr. Beast. I mean, if you watch his videos, he's like, look, the first 100 videos aren't going to matter. You're not going to even know which end of the camera to look into until you finish your first 100. Like, they're going to be garbage. And I feel that way about screenwriting. I feel like you got to write a lot of stuff before you really start to get a sense of who you are and what you want to say and how you want to say it. So I'm sure the videos, the first ones, are going to be a little bit rough. I'm sure number 15 that I'm recording right now, day 15, is going to be a little bit rough. I can't really start looking back. I got to just kind of keep staying in the moment and keep looking forward. I hope some of this is helpful. I hope next time when we get more into the specifics of putting the kind of finishing touches on that first draft, so that you can say like, that's a vomit draft, and I can post that online and say that's what it looks like. Or better yet, since I'm only on day 15 and I have 15 days left, I'm 15 days ahead of schedule. Maybe I can put it down, let it rest for 3, 4, 5 days, and then come back and do like a 7-day polish at the very end and kind of like really just nail in on some of the concepts. But either way, we're going to share it along the way. You guys are going to be a part of it. It's going to be fantastic. Keep the shares, keep the comments, keep the questions, keep the process moving with me, and see if it's something that you guys can't find anywhere else, which is like, here's a screenwriter who's setting out to do a thing, pointing the circle on the wall and saying, that's my goal, and then making a series of steps towards that goal over the process of 30 days and achieving or failing to achieve said goal.